This is the Book Deal Podcast, a podcast all about inspiring and motivating writers.
Where we interview seasoned and debut authors about their own writing, from the blank page to the book deal and beyond.
We hope these stories will help you to stay positive, focused, and carve your own path forward.
I'm Madeleine Cleary.
And I'm Tina Strachan.
And this is the Book Deal Podcast. The Book Deal Podcast acknowledges the traditional owners of the land and waters which it's recorded on and pays respect to their elders past, present, and emerging.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Book Deal Podcast. I'm Tina Strachan.
And I'm Madeleine Cleary.
We're very excited that this is our very first episode, Madeleine.
I'm so excited, and we thought this time around we'll just introduce ourselves, talk a little bit about where we're up to in our book deal journey. And then in subsequent episodes for the rest of the season, we'll interview some fantastic authors that we've lined up, which is very exciting. And we will always start the podcast as well with a little chat and a little update, because there is so much going on, isn't there, Tina?
There's so much. I think we've both had a really big month.
A big year, I think it's just been a big everything. So and you have done some very exciting things this morning as well.
I have done some very exciting things already this morning. Yes, so it's a good time to catch up. I've literally come off the back of 3 assessments, which of a manuscript that I've written. I've written the first act, and I have very heavily plotted the rest. And it is the next project that I want to jump into. And so, yes, I've just come off the back of 3 assessments, online assessments, with 2 publishers, so a publisher and then an agent and then another publisher from different houses. And I had 2 last weekend, or the weekend before actually as well. So they're so good. So these assessments are through what's known as a CYA conference, which is children and young adults, but they do also have adult categories for the competition, and all the speakers that they have at the conference just have valuable knowledge for whatever genre you write in, and you can do these assessments. So, it's the only conference that I know of that just has all these amazing agents and publishers and industry professionals that you can book in and to do a 15-minute assessment with. So you send them your work. Yeah, it's incredible, because these are the people that we want the feedback from, right?
Exactly.
So all debut or all authors out there who are trying to, learn the craft or write or just want some feedback, they're the best people to get it from. So that's the CYA conference, and you can check them out online. And it's usually the same time every year, which is about June, July. And you've got to be quick to book in for the assessments, because they book out very quickly. It's just nice to know that, you're on the right track with something.
Yes.
And just really awesome feedback and really good ideas for moving forward.
Oh, I think it's brilliant. And taking a step back as well, we'll also say, so we met through the debut crew for next year. So we're getting published next year, traditionally in Australia. Tina is looking at those new projects. She also has a 3-book deal coming out. Are they all coming out next year as well, Tina? So you're doing your next project in addition to also doing the edits for 3 books.
Yeah. Yes. You could call me crazy if you like. That's fine. Yes, I am. This one I really want to progress. It's really fun. It's a story that just flowed really easily for me. So I'm really excited to keep going on it. But I only just handed in this is the crazy month that we've had. I had book 3 of the series due a couple of weeks ago. And so I handed that in. I made the deadline. And then and literally that day also I had these 2 assessments with the publishers, and then the next weekend I had the conference, the CYA conference, where they also announced the winner of all their categories for writing. So that was really exciting too, because I won my category, which was the middle grade. Yes, thank you.
Yes,
It's a middle grade manuscript, but because I have got these 3 books with a publisher at the moment, they have a published category, so that you're not going in against unpublished authors, because you do have a an advantage because you've worked with publishers before and you've had your work edited by publishers. So you've learned, along those lines. So yes, yes, it was a published category. So
that's amazing.
that was really cool.
Congratulations.
Too.
I have so many questions about your process because I think we're also probably one of the first crossover podcasts where you're in the children's, young adult, middle grade scene. And not to say that you won't write adult fiction in future, but that's where you are at the moment. And I'm writing for adults. So in historical fiction genre is my first debut. And so I feel like we can bring different perspectives on the industry from different genres, which I'm not sure if I'm aware of any other podcast that does this, where they can bring the two different, because I do think that there is a different approach to how you approach getting a book deal for these types of different genres. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. And I haven't tried to, try and get a book deal in the adult genre, but yes, I think so. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunities like this one with the CYA conference. And
what? So because you originally were part of the 2022 CYA conference, is that right? Is that
yes?
And you won one of the categories.
I won that one. Yes, and that's what directly got me the book deal that I have now with HarperCollins.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So would you say that is this one of the most important ways of getting a book deal in the CYA genre, or is that like, I'm just interested to know different pathways, and it does seem like in the last few years it's a really prominent conference and I'm seeing a lot more spoken about it. I think that it's a great opportunity for people who are writing in that genre to attend.
Yeah, I think it would probably be my number one tip for, there's my tip of the day already.
Yes, we're going to do tips on this, lots of tips, but we'll try and do one main tip for each episode.
Yes, we decided we're going to do a tip for each episode, and this is one of them. Anyone who is an aspiring author, I would check out the CYA conference online. Get ready for next year's assessments. The conference, you can attend it online, enter the competition. The brilliant thing about the competition is that, and this is why I entered in the first place, you don't just enter the competition and not hear anything if you don't shortlist or win, but every person who enters, and this year there was over 600 entries, every single one of them gets the judge's feedback.
Oh, and that is so valuable, because often you submit your work into the world and you hear nothing. You might get a rejection email, which is great. and that's just the way it's built. People are very busy.
Yeah, so it's amazing because it just allows, I at first thought this is a really cheap, easy way of getting some feedback because I hadn't shown anyone my work before. So that was awesome. And also I've been a judge and a first reader on competitions before, and I've been reading things and I thought, if only I could let this person know just this one thing, it just is such a big change that they could, or little change that they can make that would make a big difference, and but just sort of not having that ability to give that feedback, I guess. It's so valuable. So yes, my tip, get online, check it out, and get ready for next year, because it's just the best way of not only getting some feedback from the competition, but getting in front of the publishers as well. So it's not just about, trying to pitch them or your manuscript. It's about making that connection, because, you'll see them again next year, and it gives you something to, if you do pitch, say, you might remember me from the assessment we had last year, because it just gives you that little bit of extra something.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's held in Brisbane, is it, each year?
The conference is held in Brisbane, but it's online as well.
Online,
people internationally. It's open internationally, I believe, the competition, and you can Zoom in.
And so what does it mean when you win?
Oh, so the prize is the best prize of all that everybody wants, right? Is and invaluable. You couldn't put a price on it. 15 minutes with the publisher that judged your
15 minutes. That's actually a long time when you do think about pitches, because you do need to you can't really prepare something very formal for that. It has to be How do you approach though that? So you've done that 5 times now, I think, in the last 2 weeks. How do you approach those?
Yes. Well, I guess the idea with it is their assessments. So they see your
Mm.
work, and the idea is that they give you tips and advice and feedback. And that was
Oh,
different for everyone. So
okay.
it's not a
So
pitch,
it's not a
although it's
pitch.
not a
Okay.
pitch, but you are sending them your work, and it is the dream that they go, hey, I want that one. And that certainly happens. I know people who have, yeah, it is because we all know how hard it is to get in front of a publisher, don't we? It is,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the choice of the slush pile, or then your only other option really is trying these other, ways of getting in front of them, but I don't know one that's as good as this, as you're getting it in front
Mm.
of them, right?
And of course, if you've got an agent, that makes it, you can probably maybe get to the top of the slush pile. But if
Yes.
you're going into the industry like we both did without an agent, then
Mhm.
any method you can to sort of make yourself stand out is important, I think. So
Absolutely.
15 minutes is highly valuable, but I could imagine that would be very stressful as well.
It is. By the time when I got up to my last one, I was actually more stressed out than the first one. And
Why? Why?
I don't know. It was building. I'd already had half an hour of people like judging your work, right? And giving you all this feedback, and frantically writing notes, and
Oh,
also trying to be like, trying to make a good impression. And yeah, but yeah, I've got all these scrawled like notes and messages and all these sorts of
for
things.
those listening online, Tina just showed the camera all the
All my
notes.
messy notes, and trying to everything they say, trying to write it down, because then I'll take all that and I'll amend my manuscript, which I've already done. Those first few, yeah,
Mm.
and it's just great. And some of them were so simple. They're like, you made a spelling mistake, or there was
Oh,
an
really?
Americanization of a word on this page. I'm like, how did that get through? So yeah,
Was
yes.
the feedback consistent? Because sometimes as well with feedback, you can get two different publishers saying two different things.
I think overall it was fairly consistent.
Mm.
Um, I think I think maybe it's personality based how it comes to you though.
Mm.
So whereas some people, yeah, like to be very practical in their feedback, and others like to give you the vibe of what they thought. But
Mm.
it, if anything, and if nothing, comes of out of these assessments, just I think it's given me another confidence boost in that I can write. Apparently.
And you had doubted yourself with a 3-book deal.
Yes,
Well,
because that's what authors do, right? They just they
have
continually
self-doubt.
doubt. So
Mm.
yes, so for anyone
Particularly
listening who does not have a
female.
book deal yet, it doesn't change. That self-consciousness continues to remain.
I think particularly, well, probably men as well, but also a lot of women have that self-doubt that they can do this and they can write. That's at least the experience that I've seen in speaking to other writers. It's something that's always in your heart, that even when you get a book deal, you're worried that the publisher might turn around one day and say, actually, you know what, you can't actually write, so we're going to renege on that deal.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
still a constant fear, even 1 year after signing the deal.
yeah.
That I've
Just
got
that
that.
something will happen, and they'll go, "Oh, the market has completely changed. We're just going to
Yes.
sit on this maybe for 5 years and see how it goes, or something like that."
Yeah, yeah, you just don't know. And also, I think in this industry, you can't really control what people will like at what time.
Mm.
So you might have a brilliantly written manuscript, but it's not the right time for it. So there's so many different factors, I think, that goes into that submission and selection process,
Hmm.
which we can talk about in subsequent episodes, I think.
Absolutely. There's so much to talk about.
There is.
But anyway, that was my nerve-wracking morning that I've
I
had.
feel nervous for you, Tina. I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, Tina's going to go into all those assessments, straight into a podcast. I'm just like, oh, hope she's
Yeah.
going to do well.
Yeah, no,
But
it's
it sounds
perfect
like you
timing.
smashed
Perfect
it out.
timing. But what about you, Madeline? You've had a really busy month as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, we were quite lucky in that we had 4 weeks in Europe over winter, like many Australians. We escaped winter, which was nice, and came home, brought home a very exotic European COVID that kept us busy for a week. So just recovered from that now, just gone back to my full-time job, my day job, and that's also coincided with my editor sending back the third round of structural edits for my novel. It feels like I've been hit back into real reality, and I'm in Melbourne and it is absolutely freezing at the moment as well. So I was talking to a friend and she's like, you have to just remember to live seasonally. So during winter, hibernation is okay. Don't have to do everything. Can sit at home reading a book. So that's kind of what I'm going to focus on. But yeah, last week I had a fantastic chat with my editor. So it's Ruby Ashby-Orr with Affirm Press. And so Ruby's been part of so she's the one that signed me up over a year ago now, actually, I think. So we started talking in June 2023, and she's done the first 2 structural edits, and I'll talk about what that entails, what a structural edit is as well in a sec. And she's now brought on a second editor at Affirm, so Laura Franks, who is absolutely wonderful and has done a very detailed read of the novel. And so looking at The Butterfly Women, which is my novel, we had some massive changes that we agreed on at the start. And that was a really collaborative process, which is fantastic. And they gave me a lot of autonomy and agency to make those changes. And there's some really big picture kind of structural changes. And often, I'm not sure what you got with your structural edit, but you just get a report with some pages of notes that the editor's made and saying, okay, think about this, think about that. And Ruby actually went into a lot of detail as well, which was amazing. And so, yeah, I think getting the energy to dive back in, because you kind of go through these peaks with your edits where you work on it really consistently for 6 weeks, and then you return them, and then you wait 6 to 8 weeks, and then you forget about the book, and then you go through this peak again. So I'm now just trying to get back into, this is the book, this is what I want to do, this is what I have to do. So yeah, it is a long process. So from signing the book deal in July last year to publication, which will be in about April, we think, next year. So that's close to 20 something months. Things move slowly. Would you agree, Tina?
Yeah. Yes, mine will be, and it's like you said, there's these peaks and troughs, and sometimes things move really quickly, and then sometimes there's these breaks. But yeah, so mine will be about almost 2 years exactly from signing. So yes, things can move really slowly. But did you think, because you've had a bit of a break from the manuscript, right? So that's a good thing. How do you feel about coming back into it now?
Yeah, because Laura was sort of my editor. She was saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You've done so much, and now you have to jump back in. Like, it must be really defeating to have another round and another round." And I love the book, so I'm really excited to see where it's going, and I can feel like it's getting better. So I think maybe for people, emerging writers who are looking to get published, that is one step, and then the next step is you still have to keep diving back in and back in and back into your manuscripts. You've got to have that patience. You have to have a novel, a manuscript that you absolutely love, with characters that you love, with a story that you love, because it's going to be with you for years, even after signing the deal. And because I love it, and I'm just excited to be back into it. I think it's, yeah. What about you? Do you have that passion for structural editing?
I feel like I've just been in a continual round of edits for a year now, and will be for another year. Because there is a 3, and they're all at various stages of edits.
I don't know how you keep your mind. Like, I can only do 1 at a time. For you to do 3, amazing.
Yes, but they're a lot smaller than how many words is yours?
It's too long. It's 95,000 at the moment. It should be a bit less, I think.
Oh, have you been told to cut it back?
No, I haven't been told yet, but I think probably it needs to be, like, generally historical fiction adult, maybe 80 to 90 is the ideal.
Oh, okay. Okay. But they clearly like the additional 5,000 words because they've let you keep it in.
Not yet. We'll see. I think it's going to get cut down a bit. I have a lot of background stuff that I think can get cut down, so it'll make it tighter. But for now, they're just letting me go forth and write what I want to write. But there'll be the red pen coming through very, very shortly, I think.
Yeah, that's amazing, because it must be coming up to somewhat final-ish edits, right?
Well, this is the last round of structural edits, and then I think, who knows, they may decide, no, Madeleine, your writing's terrible. You need to redo another one. We'll see. And then copy edit, and then it has to go through a fact check because it's historical fiction. So Firm Press have learnt that it's really important to get the historical facts correct. Of course, though, there's that you can always take some liberties, I think, because it's a fiction. But I have to make sure I acknowledge those liberties, and I have definitely taken some liberties for the sake of the story. And so, yeah, so I think though, so there's still like a lot to go. And I think hopefully though, by the copy edit, it should be pretty much settled. So I've got a couple of months to sort of chop and change. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, like I said, I'm at all different stages. I'm waiting on the one of the final typesetting stages where the words are, you get this document where the words look exactly how they're going to look on the page, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but because it's middle grade and it's got quite a lot of illustrations by the most wonderful Max Hamilton, who's incredible, and she's just really brought the characters to life, and it just makes it look amazing. So what they do now is then they fit the images into the words, and so move all that around. So then that will be the next stage of that one, having a look how they fit. And then book 2 still I'm waiting on my second round of edits back. And
Do they call them structural edits in middle grade?
I haven't had to change anything. I don't think I've had to change much structurally.
Oh, good.
To be honest, it was
that makes me feel terrible. 3 rounds.
Oh, yeah, but I feel like historical fiction is, there's probably a lot to talk about with
I'm
that
never
one.
writing historical fiction again, Tina.
Just, write something fantastical. Write
the random
fantasy.
things you
No one needs
Google.
to check that. Yeah.
Exactly. I'll write a romantasy and become the next Sarah J. Maas, and then I'll just retire on my, millions of dollars.
It sounds a little bit more stress-free, I have to say. And like I said, book 3 only just went in, so I haven't heard anything back yet about that. And I know that they're super busy. My publisher is super busy, so she just attended the last conference last weekend up here and did a boot camp, which is another cool thing that you can do at the conference is boot camps. Where
I
you
should
spend a
say
whole
that
day.
we are not sponsored by the CYA. It might sound like we
I
are.
know. No affiliation apart from the fact that I've gone there a lot. But it really is. It just provides, it really does provide a lot of help for aspiring authors. So she's been really busy too. So just
I feel like everyone in publishing is very, very busy all of the time, and you're always wanting to knock on the door and be very polite and say hello.
Yes.
I've got some questions. That was actually so Tina is part of we mentioned we were both part of the debut crew for next year. We've got this wonderful community of new emerging writers who are all being published next year, and we meet monthly, and it's just been wonderful to share, I think, common traits and similar stories and answers as well. And I think one of the biggest things on the last chat that we had on Monday night was about asking questions and understanding what the plan is and the schedules, and feeling like, wait, can I email my publisher? Will they get, I know they're so busy, will they get upset? And I think that's one of the big things, and I think that's why having this crew is handy, because we often one of us will go and ask our publisher the question and then share the answer with the group.
We send one person in for intel and get them to bring it back. But it is an amazing little group to be a part of. So if anybody does have books coming out, anyone listening has books coming out in 2025, maybe just DM Madeleine.
Yes, or Tina.
Or me. And we can get you into the crew. Similarly, if you're not, I'm also part of a debut crew for 2024 because my original release date was 2024. So similarly, if you're looking for a crew to be a part of, DM me about that, and I can we can hook you up there. The 2024 crew is over 70 members
I
strong
know.
now.
Lisa Kenway, who's organised that, she actually said, I think they're at 78 now, which
Yeah.
is massive. So we're sort of sitting at 25 at the moment, which is a nice, easy number to manage, but I'm imagining that will grow.
It's grown so much even in the last month, hasn't it?
It has. Everyone's signing their book deals, which is very exciting.
Very exciting, very exciting.
What was it like when you signed your book deal for the first time? How was that feeling?
Um, oh, the whole process or the actual
No, I think
moment?
we'll talk later
Yeah,
and more closer to
yeah.
our publication date about how we got that and the story. But what was that, just when you signed, what was that feeling you got that first time?
Yeah, I think the actual, to be honest, I think the actual signing of it, I was a little bit, it was sent to me as an electronic PDF. And I was like, oh, and with an electronic signature going back, I'm like, you know, you see people do videos of them signing
With a beautiful fountain pen,
I
and
know,
they've got a
signing the
glorious bookshelf
contracts.
in the background.
Yeah, on their table and their glass of champagne. And I was sitting in the car at the school car park waiting for the kids. And I was like, this is real. You know, I still filmed it, but I did
Did you?
not put, yes. It's like, this is me pressing the button, sign, because
You have to share that. You have to share that with us. I
maybe,
want to see that.
so that side of it felt a little bit uneventful, but I still printed it out anyway onto hard copy, just obviously just to having to hold, and to hold up with my little glass of champagne. So, uh, but it still was just an almost surreal feeling to be thinking I am signing this contract with HarperCollins, and it's just amazing, and I couldn't have asked for more. How about you, Madeline? How did you feel?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I think the best moment for me was coming off a call with my now editor, Ruby, where she, at the end of our Zoom call, she just wanted to have a chat. And at the end said, yeah, so I think we're going to offer you a contract, and we'll send it to you in a week. And I got off the call and I went downstairs to see, like, my husband was there, and he's like, oh, how'd the chat go? I said, I think I've got a book deal. Like, I think I have. And he's like, what? And he's like, that's amazing. I'm like, yeah, I think it is. Like, it just sort of, and it all happened really quickly, because when publishing does want to move fast, they will move very, very, very fast. And I remember going to my friend's house that night, and she just had a baby, and so we were sitting and playing with the baby and talking about stuff, and she goes, you're never going to forget this day. Like, there's so many days in our lives that we forget, but she said, you're never ever going to forget this one. This is a change. This is something different. This is amazing. This is what you've been working for so long. And so I think nothing has really, and I hadn't signed it at that stage, it was just sort of said verbally,
Yes,
like, we're
yeah.
going to offer you this. And I think that moment, it's going to be difficult to replace in future, because I think at that stage you don't know anything else about the industry, you don't know anyone else, you don't know about advances or marketing campaigns or all of that kind of stuff, which we'll get into and we'll follow as we go through it all next year. But that moment's the best. So for those people who are out there submitting and getting rejections, like, we totally understand, and we've all been, I think, through that self-doubt, that process, but it is worth it once you get that point, I think.
And that's why we're recording this podcast, right, Madeline? It's
Exactly.
that to try and help other people have that feeling too of the all elusive book deal. And we're really hoping that we can provide some practical advice, practical steps to follow and tips to follow, not just from us, but
Yes.
we have quite a few awesome guests lined up.
Yes,
the first
we
one
do.
I'm recording tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. And we will probably, maybe in our next one, give a little bit more away about who we'll be talking to, but they all have, all the guests that we're speaking to, we've wanted to interview because they do have quite interesting stories of how they've gotten to where they have gotten to and how they scored their first book deal too. And it's, I guess, just recognizing the importance that every writer's deal, and I'm going to use the word journey, everyone's journey.
Yes, the journey.
It absolutely is different. And so you just have to pave your own way forward. And that's what we're here to help people with, hopefully.
Exactly. I think, for me, listening to podcasts about other people had gone through this was really helpful when I was approaching this. And so we're coming at from it from an Australian perspective as well, but this is also helpful for other writers in other countries as well, and how to approach writing, how to approach things like appearing before a publisher and pitching your work. And part of why I got my deal was because I was able to achieve that. So we'll talk about from an Australian experience, but it's definitely crossovers for other people as well out there who are interested in getting this book deal. So hopefully we can help you guys secure a book deal in future, and motivate you along the way as well. So Tina, should we finish off with our tips?
Yeah, my dog has just started snoring, so I think that and she's sitting beside me, so I think that's the perfect time to wrap it up. What's your tip, Madeleine?
Well, I had to think about it because I forgot that we were doing tips, and so I had to rush 1 minute before we started recording, thinking. So what I have been doing actually. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1 tip. As soon as I signed my deal, I actually started writing a diary on writing about my thoughts and feelings, and also when ideas strike about my stories and my novels and everything, and even just like writing down the process, like, oh, I had a meeting today with Ruby, my editor, and we talked about this. And I think it would be really helpful for emerging writers to start to do that, because I think often the biggest question is like, oh, how did you come up with your ideas, or how did you feel about this, and because these things take years, it's helpful to be able to go back and look at that. And I also think when you're feeling down about your writing, it's nice to document that, because then you can look back on that and see that episode and see where you were at, where your mind was at. So I actually went back to my diary and looked through some of my scrolls. And one of the things that I wrote about was approaching your work playfully. So when you're feeling really crappy about your writing and your work, or you feel like you've got a block, I tend to just take a step back and go, you know what, I'm just going to have a bit of fun, and I'm just going to throw my characters into this, and I'm just going to see how this goes. And often the best writing for me is generated when I'm just approaching it a bit more like a sense of play. And I think as adults, we often don't get to play as much. And part of why I love hanging out with my nieces is because you get to have a bit of fun and a bit of a play. And in the end, this is why we're all doing this business, isn't it? So we can enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good tip.
2-in-1 tip.
Yeah,
diary,
I like that.
And have a bit of fun.
Have a bit of fun. Yeah.
What about you, Tina?
I think I'm going to just use the tip that I said before, but I guess more broad. It's quite a big one, and it's a practical one though. Go away right now and have a Google for competitions or assessments or pitches. There's so much to cover in that, and it is quite broad. But if you don't put the work out there, it won't get any further. So it's good to just get those first initial comments, even if it's just a vibe of the feeling it's not marketable, things along that, right down to you need to change your sentence structure, it's about just taking that step, entering it into a competition or a pitch, or just getting it in someone else's eyes, and taking on that constructive feedback.
I think that's a great tip.
You never know what else you might come from it as well.
I think that's great. And actually that's something we will cover. In one of our future guest interviews, who I will not name, but she actually entered a competition, didn't win, but ended up getting sort of listed in one of those competitions, and then subsequently got her agent, and so it can open up pathways by just, even if you don't win the competition, people will be reading your work, and that's what you want.
That's exactly right.
We need to talk about, though, that fear of releasing your work into the world for the first time too. So that's also a scary thing to do.
There's so much to cover. But we also want to hear from listeners if they have any particular questions that they would either like us to answer, or we can ask our guests. So how can we do that? We have an Instagram page now.
We do.
That's probably the best way of doing it.
So what's our tag on Instagram?
It's just the Book Deal Podcast.
So look us up on
Easy.
Instagram and subscribe to our podcast as well for future episodes. So please send us any of your feedback, comments, whatever you want us to do, and we can talk about it as much as we can.
Oh, we so hope that you'll tune in to hear more from us.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Book Deal podcast. Please like, follow, or share this episode so we can encourage more aspiring authors.
And if you have a question you'd like us to answer or ask our guests, please find us on Instagram at The Book Deal or email us at thebookdeal@outlook.com.